Welcome to the Emerging Temple broadcast. My name is Michael Obeah. Today is September 24, 2019. Please feel free to subscribe to our channel by hitting the like button, the bell button at the bottom of your screen. Also, you can partner with us by logging into Patreon and supporting us through our handle, Emerging Temple. Today we're going to discuss climate change, and in light of what occurred yesterday at the United Nations, where a young child was put up there to insult the leaders of the world. And I say insult because of the manner by which a child could speak to all the leaders of the world, and no one in the press or anywhere in the popular media thought there was anything wrong with that. And we're going to discuss climate change. We're going to discuss how it affects us, how it affects our rights, how it affects our freedoms, and how it affects our finances, because there is more to this than meets the eye. Okay, but before I continue, I would like us to watch this video and watch this child speak.
My message is that we'll be watching you. This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
I don't know about you, but I have a problem with that. And from a moral perspective, should a child be brought to talk to kings, presidents, world leaders in that manner? What is the lesson children of the world who watched her would draw from that? Do they understand anything about climate change? Or have they learned that it's okay to speak to adults that way? But that's a moral question. But what concerns us most now is the financial aspect of climate change and how all this is tied into what Jesus himself prophesied about the end of times. First of all, let's take it from a financial perspective. Are you aware that worldwide, big financial companies are lobbying to get themselves into something called cap and trade? You've never heard of cap and trade, or maybe you have and you don't even know what it means. In a nutshell, cap and trade gives the finance companies of Wall Street, the big banks in London and Paris and Germany and all over the world, it gives them the right to be able to trade the limited rights to emit carbon and other gases into the atmosphere. So for example, company A in Chicago can emit 1 trillion metric tons of carbon, but they need to emit 2 trillion metric tons. I know that's a lot, but just go along with me. And company B can also emit 2 trillion tons of carbon, but they only need to emit 500 billion metric tons of carbon. They can now sell this right of their $500 million, which they don't need to use, to this other company that needs to be able to give off more, the sell off the rights. Well, this selling of rights is the creation of new markets for Wall Street and other brokers. If you remember, something like this led to the financial crisis of 2008, but that was what were called derivatives and collateralized mortgage obligations. But that's another topic. That's what you're not being told. It's nothing to do with the environment. It's nothing about your future. This is all part and parcel of the plan for the one world government that will be led by the Antichrist. Because this here is limiting our rights to that which will be determined by the moneyed elite. You might say, well, Michael, look, I don't own any factory. If these guys are going to limit big factories and decide that, don't emit this, and then they're going to trade, what's that got to do with me? Everything. Because if they can monetize for individual personal wealth the right of somebody a group of people to engage in enterprise, if they can do that, then they can monetize everything concerning your life. Some people today have issues, private issues in their families that lead to divorces. Do you know that there is an enterprise for child, when a child is taken from the family because the parents are unable to provide, or the government considers that they have a household environment that is negative to the child, that there's actually industries now that have built up around that, where they take this children into foster homes, and each child is probably worth $3,000 to each county, money that comes from the federal government. Well, this is a wildly separate issue from what we're talking about. But I just want to use that to bring it home to you that there are things that occur in our personal lives that these moneyed elites are behind because it brings finance and money to them. Now, in countries like the United States and Western Europe that can actually police the emissions that their factories produce, these laws will be enforced. What about those parts of the world where there is no enforcement? There are parts of the world where there is no emission standards for any vehicle you drive or any factory you produce, none. How's this going to change that? How are you going to police those places? Well, maybe you can. Maybe you can set up a one world government, a one world police force that starts with policing and monitoring emissions in different countries of the world. And from that, you can begin to expand it a little bit. So anyway, folks, that's my take on this, and I look forward to speaking with you next week.